the American Business Podcast, ABP. This is Kevin Deveji, your host. Thank you very much for your support and thank you for subscribing on YouTube. We have more than 19,000 subscribers on YouTube and increasing really fast, and we truly appreciate your support. If you haven't done so, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe and support our channel. We truly appreciate it. Also, if you have any ideas for our podcast, if you like to see any guest in our podcast, if you like to be a guest, please reach out to us. Our email address is americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We keep an open mind and we love to hear from you as well as your feedback, also your ideas. If you'd like to know what is coming on our podcast, you can always visit our podcast website, americanpodcast.tv. There you can see our coming schedule. Also, we like to keep it actionable in our podcast. We love to talk about wisdom and professional background of our guest. Also, at the same time, we started to put together monthly networking events, the Connectional America. Starting this month, we are organizing online exclusive business networking events. It's called Connectional America. And we love to invite you. The first one is on May 23rd. It is running online, so you can connect from anywhere in the world, from North America. I know we have a lot of listeners in Europe as well as in Asia. You can connect from anywhere in the world and connect with other business professionals. These will help you connect other experts in other parts of the world, as well as in North America, as well as in the US. It is on May 23rd. We are starting at 10 a.m. before our podcast session, and it'll run until 11:30. So this is a great opportunity for introducing yourself, your company, your services, your products, and making meaningful business connections with other business professionals. It is important to have business contacts and network, and this is a great opportunity to extend your business ecosystem and your business connection ecosystem. We're gonna put the registration page in the description for the YouTube listeners, so feel free to connect. Also, we're gonna be organizing these networking events monthly basis. So we like to keep it actionable, and we like to expand and grow our business community. American Business Podcast is a business community, and with the help of the Connection America Business Networking event, this business community can interact in real time. So that is the idea. We'll appreciate your support. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, please register to the Connection America exclusive business online networking event. All right, great. Now we can, I think, get started. I like to invite our guest to our virtual stage. I like to invite Jay Ryan from Finan. Okay, let's see. All right, coming up. Thank you, Beth. All right. Hello, Jay.
Kevin.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us today. How is your week going so far?
It's been a good week, but I can't say I'm upset that it's Friday afternoon. Looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Correct. Fridays are fun days, so that's really good. Also, this weekend is special, right? So Mother's Day is coming.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna be able to spend a lot of time with our families, our mothers and loved ones. So that's
Yes,
exciting.
very nice.
Well, also, well, there is also a plus. There also, interestingly, on Mother's Day is also my birthday, so I'm gonna celebrate twice. So that's
Happy
pretty
birthday.
cool. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, I think we can get started. You have decades of professional experience on your belt, and we have a lot to learn from you today in this business podcast. We have thousands of listeners. As you heard earlier, we have more than 19,000 YouTube subscribers.
Very nice.
And it's growing fast. We truly appreciate this support. So we like to keep the podcast as educational, as informative as possible. Having said that, as a start, would you please introduce yourself and your company to our audience and our listeners?
Okay, sure. So I started out, I went to college at Harvard, studied history, went to law school afterwards, never practiced law, but I went to Wall Street. And for 30 years, I was kind of advising institutional investors on, where to put their money. And it was a great career. I loved it. But after the fall of Enron in the early 2000s, they changed federal regulations and made what I did fairly obsolete. I always say my bond friends lost their jobs due to technology, but my stock friends or equity friends lost it due to changes in the federal regulations. We used to call our clients with good ideas, and they decided after Enron that we would have to put all that information on the wires first. So if it's already on Dow Jones and Bloomberg News wires, they didn't really need me. So I was, looking for something to do. I was in my mid-50s, and as a lot of people have learned, people don't pay you for your potential when you're in your 50s. I'd been doing one thing for 30 years. And so I decided I had to start a business. And in the last 10 years on Wall Street, I worked very closely with an electric utility analyst and knew a lot about energy and utilities and demand side policies and what the government was doing. So that's where I went. And I started an energy efficiency consulting business. That's Kilfin and Energy. And in the beginning, it was pretty simple. The goals were simple, but having worked for other people for 30 years, it took a little bit of adjustment to run a business and kind of handle all aspects of business. But, we got settled in, and in the early years, it was a lot of LED lighting. LED lighting was the newest, coolest, and it was really the best energy efficiency technology at that point in time, the quickest, return on investment. And as I built up a lot of happy customers, then I would add other things. If they had a big flat roof, I might suggest solar. If they had a lot of glass windows and walls and doors, I might suggest, thin films. And so filled out the offerings and was doing pretty well. And then COVID hit, and nobody was in their building, and nobody's letting me in their building. So I started a second business, and that was based on indoor air disinfection. If you recall, at the beginning of the pandemic, there were everywhere you looked, there were ads, and there were guys in full hazmat suits with gas masks on, and they were spraying down people's offices, and they were using disinfection chemicals. Well, those chemicals are not harmless. They're meant to kill things, and they're meant to be wiped on non-porous surfaces, not sprayed on porous surfaces. So when they sprayed your chair and your curtains and your rug, they gave off nasty chemicals, nasty fumes for quite a while. So I started a second business. It was disinfecting offices using ultraviolet light. And we would do that at night and on weekends because that light is not really good for your skin or your eyes. And we started out, it was starting to go well. And then kind of the public health authorities decided that, or realized that COVID wasn't spread by fomites. If you remember, they said, don't touch your mail, don't touch your groceries, all this stuff. And it really wasn't the way it was spread. It was spread through indoor air. And so in good conscience, I couldn't charge people to disinfect behind the curtains and under the desk. So I started to fold that down, but I got a call from someone who'd seen my posts on LinkedIn. And he said, hey, you're one of the few people who actually knows what they're talking about ultraviolet light. Take a look at our product. And so I stayed independent, but I worked with that product for a while. And, but then, people kind of got over, people got over the pandemic, people got over COVID. Business came back to normal, and I came back to energy efficiency. So now we're almost 10 years into the LED rebate programs, and at least in New York State, the Public Service Commission has announced there'll be no more lighting rebates going forward. They're pushing everybody, they're trying to push a lot of people into something called heat pumps. And my decision was, if everybody's going to be chasing heat pumps, I didn't want to chase heat pumps. And so I found a new technology, and it involves HVAC optimization. It's interesting. My partner on this is the guy who created Meta, as in Mark Zuckerberg's Meta. And this technology
Amazing.
is data driven. Unlike, there have been HVAC engineers and scientists for over 100 years, but this is a completely new process, a new way of looking at the world. And after COVID, the White House charged ASHRAE, and if you don't know, ASHRAE is the global standard setting body for everything having to do with HVAC and refrigeration. They wanted them to come up with a standard for ventilation, because during COVID, the CDC told everyone, crank up your ventilation, we need to dilute pathogens. But they didn't really have a scientific standard or method or measurement for how much it should be turned up. And so now they charged ASHRAE with coming up with a standard, and lo and behold, all the HVAC engineers got together, but they included my partner in this committee, and he won the day. He had the better mousetrap. And so he has a way of testing airflows that is superior. And he started a business based on that. And after, testing millions of square feet, really looking to improve air quality, they found a great ancillary addition. And that is that nowadays, most buildings are way overventilated. Almost 100% of office buildings and about 75% of other buildings. And you might ask, why is it bad to be overventilated? Isn't fresh air great? And the answer is because it's very expensive to heat and cool outside air. When it's 90 degrees out and you want to make the air inside 70, or when it's 32 degrees out and you want to make it 70, it's a lot cheaper to keep recirculating the air that you've already heated and cooled. But the problem with that is that's how you get to sick buildings. You need some fresh air. So this committee created ASHRAE Standard 241, and ASHRAE 241 optimizes the level of ventilation. Because if you're below the optimization level, you're going to have unhealthy people. And if you're above it, you're burning energy and burning money. So that's where I'm going right now. I've been working with this partner for about 3 or 4 months. And it's actually a fascinating technology. It can save, like, one skyscraper in Toronto, they are able to save $1 million a year, over $1 million a year. So obviously that's a big building, but we think we can save most office buildings 10 to 30% on HVAC energy spending, which is for most building is the largest expense. So that's what I'm chasing now. Very optimistic, close to closing on a few very large prospects, and it's new, so it's always a little nerve-wracking in the beginning, but I'm very optimistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so your entrepreneurial spirit is actually always inspiring. I know you over the years, so it's really fascinating to listen to you. And when you look at the market, what are the typical challenges that your prospects and those organizations and buildings that you see in the market?
Well, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Nobody wants to pay more for energy. It's a big expense, and people would like to cut their costs. However, the old saying, you never know, you don't know what you don't know. And so energy efficiency, it's an area for specialists and experts. And I mean, even when I was doing something as simple as lighting, in the beginning, people kind of resisted. Why would the utility pay me to use less electricity? That doesn't make sense. But it did make sense because they're a public utility, and the government was telling them they had to do it. Now with this product, it's a little different. There's no rebate, but the savings are incredible, and we don't charge an upfront fee. So basically, we're aligning our interests with those of our prospects, saying, listen, if we can save you 10 or more %, then we will just share in your savings. So you don't have to pay us anything to find out if this works, and you don't even have any big capital expense to make it happen. But it's new, and it's different, and it takes some time to educate people. If they ask their HVAC person about it, he probably has never heard of it. So it's a little bit of a longer sales process now in the beginning, like it was with LED many years ago. But that's really, that's the problem that they face. And at the end of the day, if we're if we're clear and convincing, people should want to save a lot of money on energy, and it also is good for the environment. You're not burning as much energy.
Yes, yes, very important. Um, Also, I like to talk about a little about AI, if that's okay.
Sure.
So, what is your viewpoint about AI? We are all employing AI in some form, in some capacity nowadays. We use different software systems. I'm in business software industry. We do a little bit more advanced things, but overall, when we look at the business ecosystem in general, pretty new. Um, and um, and it's developing, changing actually pretty quickly. So, what is your take about AI and how it is going to be changing your industry as well as business in general moving forward?
Okay. Well, obviously, that's kind of one of the primary topics of the day. And from
Yes, very popular, very popular among our audience.
right, but from 40,000 feet, I think, as you said, it's early in the game. In the beginning, remember when the internet was new and, people were saying, oh, you can get a picture of a dog on this thing. Nobody really knew quite what to do with it. And we're a little beyond that with AI. But I think, as more apps come out, I mean, ChatGPT is kind of like the broader internet. But as people bring out apps that are specifically useful to different industries, I think, and that's happening, I think that's where it's going to really help businesses and everyone else. As far as with my business, like we're not process oriented. I don't have machines, that can benefit from AI, but we're using it more for kind of marketing and presentations, the very basic stuff. But I'm constantly trying to think of ways to use it better. I don't know how to code or anything like that. I'm not a computer specialist, but I'm finding you can do some things with it to connect. Like, let's say I use a CRM and then a bookkeeping system and other simple software programs. You can actually make them work together, and you don't have to be a coding expert. So I find it's a little bit of it's a little time consuming, but I find it's kind of challenging and fun, and I'm trying to find ways to use it because, as somebody said, and everybody knows now, it's not that AI is going to put you out of business or take you out of your job. It's the guy who's using AI, if you don't, who's going to put you out of business or knock you out of your job.
Yes, that's an important point. Also, we love to learn about your predictions. 2025 and beyond in terms of job market, economy in general. Uh, if you can share your insights or your predictions, I must say that'd be great.
Sure. Okay. So I would say that that there's so much in flux at the moment that it's hard to say what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, or next month. And I think that anybody who tells you that they can predict that is over optimistic or not telling the truth. However, I think that as a lot of the things that are percolating in the world right now develop, I'm optimistic. Now, of course, there are black swan events. In the last couple of days, India and Pakistan have been arguing with each other, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen in Ukraine or in Iran or some of these places in the world. But so aside from kind of global political issues, which are tougher to handle or tougher to predict, kind of the more economy and business side of things. While I don't believe tariffs are typically a great economic policy, I think if they're used to get people's attention and motivate people to make changes that they would never have made anyway, they have potential. And we're right at the beginning of that process. I think we made some strides with England, with the UK yesterday. Apparently, India and Vietnam and others have said they want to come to some kinds of agreements. So I'm optimistic on that front. I think that once we clear through this early stage, if we have a little more clarity and people are, you know, have kind of faced up to some things that nobody talked about for decades, that we could be in for a very nice run, maybe by year end. I don't know when the smoke clears, but I am optimistic that the economy could be strong if we open up trade. As far as the big fish out there, China goes, that's another tough one. I do think a lot of the pundits in America always assume that the other side is in better shape or smarter or doing it right. And frankly, China has a lot more problems than we have at this point in time. I mean, the biggest one is a long-term one that's I don't know how they can possibly solve. It's their demographic problem. They're getting old, and most Western countries have demographic issues, but we didn't have decades of one-child policy. China is really in trouble, and then they were a country that embraced Western capitalist ideas for a while, but they've been kind of moving away from them. And I'm a businessman, but I'm also a free market capitalist. I think that the market has self-correcting mechanisms that prevent they allow small problems and disasters to happen, so you don't get into the bigger disasters. And I think with an authoritarian ruler who is not really a capitalist, China's going to have a lot of problems going forward. So I think we can probably outlast them if it gets into a little bit of a if it can't be solved quickly and both sides decide we're gonna tough it out. I think we're actually in a better shape. So I guess you could say I'm short-term agnostic and long-term optimistic.
I like to shift the conversation towards your career journey a little bit. You have decades of professional experience. Having said that, in your career journey, have you had any lessons learned that you can share with our audience?
Yeah. Well, I mean, be flexible, stay curious, always be learning, because you never know what's coming next. I had a great career that literally changed because they changed some federal regulation, and I had to figure out what to do next, what to do when I grew up, and
Yes.
but by always being curious, always learning, always trying to kind of connect the dots, you're in better shape when you're hit with a surprise than someone that keeps their blinders on. And I make widgets this way, and that's what I do. Well, you're not going to be as well prepared when things don't go your way. So that would be probably the most important one, I'd say.
What are your passions outside of work?
Well, I've always loved sports. I've always loved fitness. I was never a golfer, but a couple of years ago, I decided that I should have started playing golf a long time ago. But I'm trying to make up, not with a lot of time, because I don't have a lot of time, but I'm trying to play a little bit more. I'm enjoying that. I have 4 children who are grown. Take a very strong interest still in everything they do, but now 2 of my daughters have families, so I spend a lot of time with my grandchildren. I'm back on the sidelines coaching, little league type stuff, little kid stuff, which I absolutely love. I'm very happy to be back there. And then my 2 younger kids are engaged, so more to come on that front. So, and then my wife and I like doing some simple things together, nothing too exciting, but we spend time dining, theater, and
Well, let's give him a minute. Looks like we just disconnected. Okay, let's see. All right. But let's make sure. All right. So, okay, looks like Jay is back. Hello, Jay.
Hi, did we lose the connection there for a second?
Yes, for
I'm
a
definitely
second.
I'm
Yes,
definitely
but
back. I don't know how long I was missing.
no, it was just less than 30 seconds. So
Okay.
we are good. Yeah, that's good. Yes. So you were talking about how you spend your time, and then we just lost you there a little bit.
Oh, I don't know how far I'd gotten, but basically,
Mhm.
sports, watching sports, playing sports, fitness has always been important. I also, golf was never a big part of that until a couple of years ago, and now I'm trying to make up for some lost time there. And then family. I don't know how much of this you heard already, but I have 4 children. They're grown, but I take a lot of interest in what they're all doing. And now my 2 older daughters have children of their own, so I spend a lot of time, as much time as possible, with grandchildren. And my 2 younger kids are engaged, so there'll be more to come on that front. So my wife and
That's
I,
amazing.
yeah, my wife and I, simple things, going out to dinner, going to the theater, and I actually do golf with my wife, which is not necessarily what other guys do. I don't know if we've lost the connection again.
All right, sounds good. So one of our actually missions, the most important mission in our podcast is to share insights with the next generation.
Mhm.
So in terms of next generation and their career path, what do you think about internship programs and as well as apprenticeship programs in general?
In general, I think they're great. I think anyone who's on kind of a college track should try to get good internships. Um, I know they used to be more generous in general, but the time you spend there is well spent. Um, I think I think apprenticeships are really, really important. And I think it seems to me, just from what I hear, they're making kind of a comeback, or there's been a renaissance in the apprenticeship world, and people are getting smarter about it, both on the employer and the employee side. Something that's been talked about for, I don't know, at least a decade is the idea that, maybe not everyone has to go to college, and maybe not every job that now requires a college degree really requires a college degree. And the person who, just isn't as academically inclined, but who's smart and likes to work with their hands, they might be better off going into a apprenticeship program and getting ahead. There's a meme that goes around every once in a while, and on one side it says, "This is Bob," and Bob's sitting in his parents' basement playing video games, and it says, Bob graduated from college with a degree in sociology, and he has $200,000 in debt. And on the other side it says, "This is Jim," and Jim's on a cherry picker working on power lines, and says, "This is Jim." Jim, you know, got an apprenticeship with the public utility right out of college. He's the same age as Bob, and he now makes $90,000 a year, as a wife and kids, in a house, and it's you know college isn't for everyone, and trades are not for everybody. But I think in a lot of places it got to the point where nobody wanted their kid to go into the trades, and I think that's starting to change, and people are getting smarter. But the cost of college and some of the other problems they're having on college campuses, it makes a lot of sense to me for some people to go into an apprenticeship and get ahead in that world. You can always
Uh,
go to college later too.
that's true. It's always an option. It's always an option. And we need everyone, with college degree, without college degree, all the trades and all the skills in these, diverse economy which is growing. We need really everyone. That is
I
true.
agree.
Um, well, we are almost at the end of our um, podcast session. So I have actually two more questions before I let you
Okay.
go. One is that before we end our session, do you have any final career advice, suggestions for the next generation professionals, leaders, as well as the workforce?
Um, there's, I think there are two schools of thought on that. Somebody wrote a book, do what you love and the money will follow. And then there's another opinion that, which may be a little more practical and grounded in reality. And that's, find out what's needed out there and then find out how you can fit into it. Where's the demand for what you are capable of doing? And, it doesn't matter if you're, have a PhD or you have a high school degree, you have things that you're good at and that you can do well. And so I would say, figure out what you're good at, to some degree, what you like doing, and find out where there's demand for that, and jump in where there's need instead of trying to pound the door down for something you love but nobody needs it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, if in case our audience, if they would like to get in touch with you, what is the best way to contact you?
Okay, so well, phone or email are both good. Particularly anyone who owns a big building or has a business where you're paying your own utilities, we can help, and we can help without any. You don't need to pay big fees, and you don't need to budget for this. So you can reach me. My phone number is 631 748 6885. And my email address is just the letter J, JRYAN, at Kilcat, KILC as in Charlie, AP.com. And we'd be, I'd be love to discuss things with anybody, but even more happy to help them solve some energy efficiency problems.
Yes, you are always helpful. I know you for years, and I truly appreciate it. So it's
Yep.
important
It's
that
been
you
good to
were.
get to know you.
Yes, the pleasure is all mine. And thank you so much for being with us today in your busy schedule. It
Okay,
was
well,
a
thank you.
great
Thank you for having me.
podcast.
I enjoyed the conversation.
Anytime, Jay. Thank you so much for being with us.
Take care. Thank
Have a
you.
good weekend. Thank you. Well, to our audience, it was a great educational, informative podcast episode today. Thank you for being with us. Truly appreciate it. And more to come today. We have 2 more episodes to go today, so stay with us and we'll come back. In the meantime, I'd like to thank you for your support. We just passed 19,000 YouTube subscribers on YouTube. If you haven't done so, please go to our YouTube channel, American Business Podcast ABP YouTube channel. Please subscribe our YouTube channel and let's grow this business community together. You may have some ideas. You may like to see certain guests in our podcast. Please reach out to us, American Business Podcast at gmail.com. We keep an open mind. We love to hear from you. Please reach out to us. And if you wonder what is coming in our podcast episodes schedule and the calendar, you can visit our website, americanpodcast.tv. Also, we like to keep this business community as actionable, as active as possible. Having said that, we are organizing the Connectional America exclusive business networking activities. And these events are monthly basis. The first one we are starting on May 23rd. 10 a.m. So this is before our podcast schedule. So you can join us and then you can also join our podcast session a couple hours later. And we have a lot of listeners. We see the statistics. We truly appreciate your support. We love to also help you connect to each other. You can connect to each other. That's the business community. And the goal is to make introductions. You can join this business networking event. You can introduce yourself, your company, your product, your services, and you can also get to know other business community members in this event. We keep it online so you can connect from anywhere. You can be in East Coast, West Coast, in other parts of the world. We have a lot of international listeners in addition to American and North American listeners. So this is a great opportunity for all of us to connect in real life, in real time. And I'll have the honor and I'll moderate the event. And we can also put the registration link in YouTube. Also, if you go to our website, americanpodcast.tv, there is also a button there that you can click and you can register as well. So I hope you can join us. So let's keep it actionable as possible together. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you for your time. And to our mothers, happy Mother's Day. And to me also this weekend, it's my birthday as well. So happy birthday to me. So thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate it. So looking forward to having you at our coming podcast episodes. Thank you very much and have a nice day.